want to, all right, look at yourself and say, hey, I know what I'm going to be doing. I this, I that. All of those are not going to be consequential in the grand scheme of things. And it's very important for you to face reality, if at all, right? Honestly, if at all you would make any meaningful progress with the market analysis. So TradeMania, it's the first episode of that. Probably you're going to be doing that every Wednesday. I think that's what I'm going to be calling that. Why is it saying the broadcast is not available? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if issues with. I think it's very important for us to not only be live but to be going live. I think it's going to be important. Because if this is you know, yeah, if this is not working, then I think we're going to be having a lot of issues with the way we are going to be getting folks to learn what we want to discuss. I'm sorry. And if this doesn't work today, I think we're going to be doing this some other time. I'm not joking because I'm trying to ensure that you're, on record and everyone can hear what we're saying and doing, all of that. I think it's very necessary. Um, so that people can also try to, you know, right, and try to join us as we are making this great deal of progress. I think it's very necessary, and which is the reason why we're doing this, stream. For me, I think the bigger market is really ready for a major sell, but before that happens, we might see a bit of push to the upsides. No jokes, and that actually is one of the reasons why we're doing this live stream, so everybody can be on the same page of discussion, and we can all, so we can be on the same page of discussion, and we can understand the market's stance, and then make the most of our talks and what have you. I think yeah, I think those are very, very important if we are going to, yeah, make any great deal of progress. A minute, I'm going to be right back. Okay. Okay. Hi. All right. So I think, okay. Hello. All right. So I think we have a better output on the camera right now, and trust me, this is a whole lot of work it has taken for me, and I'm not happy with the fact that I could not do as much as I would want to do. The X stream is not really working, and I think the only one that is working right now is a YouTube. So I'm just gonna be pleading with us to sort of bear with us while we do the stream. Okay, so I think this is better, and you just manage with us for the meantime while we ensure we get the perfect reading for our stream, which I think for me we are trying to ensure it gets better. So um, yeah, I think that's it for me. On in all honesty. So guys, where are we? If you don't mind, I'm gonna be liking to yeah bring us to this discussion so we can look at the market for what it is doing and make a great deal of progress from this point going forward. Those of you on BitGet, I want to apologize for the very tough network output that you all are seeing, we're experiencing. I'm so sorry. All right, and much more importantly, those of us who are also viewing us on YouTube, probably now or some other time, I want to also apologize for that. It's not in any way something we planned. It's not in any way something we planned. We really were expecting to see a great deal of progress with the way this is ongoing. But for some reasons, this turns out not to be the way we had expected it to. And so for that reason, I would love to, tender my apologies and what have you. Because I think that's all that really matters right now. Yes. So yeah, and I think this is gonna be like helping us. So once again, we are welcome. It's just about time we're gonna be starting. I think we'll just rather call this the time of our start. As this is gonna be like helping us, and for me, it's way better we have it that way. It's way better we have it that way. So what is the place of the TradeMania and what are we doing with TradeMania? So I'm gonna be like making this post on X. For some reasons, I think I may need help on this. I might need help on this, but we're live on YouTube. So I think yeah, folks can definitely join us, right? And we can make a great deal of progress with that. And trust me, we would make great meaningful push on this point, right? So yeah. So where are we? I think we have so much in hand. I think we have to really do. And what is that we have to really discuss today? We have to discuss the pricing of the market. So, what is the intention of trade miner? The intention of trade miner is so we can look at the market for what it is, right? And, you know, understand where the market is aiming for, right? And meaningfully make progress that has to do with that. And I'm not joking. What I mean by that is we need to understand market analysis and draw a conclusion of that. Because I think it's important for us to understand some very key things and basic things from the weekly time frame. Because I think once that is very much clear, we can now then say, you know what, let's look at the market from the daily time frame, and then look at the market from the hourly time frame and every other time frames there are, as these are going to be helping us to make a great deal of progress when it comes to perspective of looking at what the market is likely going to be doing. And for me, I think this is more reason why we are doing this live stream today. We need to look at the market and say, hey, I know what this market is likely going to be doing. I know what this market is headed for, and this is what I want to do in the meantime. And so if this is your first time of coming, you're welcome. David is name, Elliot is name. I'm so excited to be having you join me today on this X space, on this live space, on this YouTube and whatever you want to call it, right? And I think for me, it's a great player. I must say that we are making this push right at this point. We're making this push at this point. What is it about the market, and why do we need to discuss market pricing, and what is it about TradeMania, which is right why we're here. The beacon market is already overbought, and you need no prefer to tell you that the pricings at certain point will begin to descend, like decline. It's just natural. You should know that at this point. But I mean, what's wrong with the network? So I think at this point we need to know that the market will definitely, pick a new trend after sustaining the previous trend it has had over a very long, time. And as a matter of fact, I can tell you for free, we are going to be seeing the market taking a very outright new and different tone as it begins to progress into newer climbs. Then this so everybody can, agree with me on this statement of fact that we are just making a great push and we will see the market making great, meaningful moves, right? Right. So now, what is this with the market on the weekly time frame? Let's look at this quickly. So this is an analysis we've given for times, and apparently this too would not work. It in fact didn't work. We had expected the market to sell from this point, but then it got to this height, these two heights, and then for some very clear reasons, the market has an interest at the top above, and there you are. Of course, there are many reasons technically, and of course, sentimentally, was responsible for the market's push. We expected this push from here to last year, and then of course drop down. And we must not be quick to state that we must not quick to forget rather that the market is in no man's land. Nobody has an autonomy of the market's direction. Whatever the market presents are the data we've got to live by. And I think that's just the bit of that. So apparently, this supply zone is still holding, and it has led the market to drop, right, as we all can see. It's a very solid one. I mean, you have this doji followed by this sell candle, which can apparently close this way for this new week, right? It could close this week. Once it closes this way, then we have more reasons to think because that's going to be forming what we call evening doji style, which is a very strong um, bearish candle pattern formation. And everyone who is into what do you call it? Knows this, right? That this particular candle formation I've just mentioned is a very solid one that hints on a bearish outlook. It hints on a bearish outlook. And for us as individuals, and for us as, I would say, also traders, for us as people who are having interest in the financial market, it's necessary for us to understand what it is about the Bitcoin market that is calling our attention, so we do not, right, make a mess, and by that I mean make a joke of the current market outlook. I think that's very, very important. You know, right? I think it's essential for us to intentional on how far we are expecting the market to, likely help us or give clearance on. So for me, I'm already expecting that we're gonna have a drop, but nevertheless, I'm looking forward to when the market will um want to continue the buy. But then looking at the weekly candle, let me look at this again. I would love to go check those who opened the weekly candle on a daily. Today's Wednesday. Don't forget. That implies that we've already had a couple of days into the week already, and the market is apparently going to be setting its tune for the most of this week. I would like to let you know that this market literally not only come back to respect this very critical um, key level, it went a little bit above this particular candle week. Look at that. It went above this point and then it's dropped down. So now that's to let you know that this point is solidly respected as a very solid supply level. And we need to know who are those who open the market for the week. So I would love to um, look at, I don't think we even need to know that the sellers are literally in control. Yeah, I would love to, if you don't mind, I would love to show you. We have this here, a buy side liquidity, which is market pushing above a region of resistance, right? Right. Then indicate either a bullish continuation or a potential reversal. What we are seeing right here is the market likely, initiating a potential reversal. Reasons are simple because this push should have just continued with more buys liquidity. Because what followed this buys liquidity was, was a or is a sell side, liquidity, which is this liquidity got taken. And this liquidity got taken. We have more reasons to really be concerned that the sellers might then have taken control ownership of the market right now, because since we moved from the buyer side to the sell side, a bit of retracement is expected to happen. Using my gun box, I would say yes, this is what I'm expecting the market to do, a bit of retracement to these zones like that, and be having the market come to these levels like 115 and then drop. It might also not get there. Why? Once it takes, probably because there are literal fair value gaps almost everywhere. This is a huge fair value gap right here, and trust me, the market might just let me take away the middle line. Market might just move a little bit right into this fair value gap and tap above this one and then drop down. So that's that's another likelihood, and which I think is way more likely to happen, right? Because the truth is, if you look back in time, looking at this, after this breakdown, you'd be expecting a very full blown retracement, maybe back all the way here. The market does not do that immediately, but it eventually does that. Like you'd expect this retracement to this level, but it does not happen that way. This external range would definitely want to satisfy the condition of pushing all the liquidity that it has grabbed from this top all the way to this low before it does the full blown retracement. So I think we should be expecting a bit of a sell once the market goes above this. That's my honest thesis at the moment. And for me, I think it really matters. It does matters, and nobody needs to believe everything everybody says. But when you look at the market for what it's forecasting or saying, you can literally say, okay, you're fine. I think very much of the opinion this market is likely going to be dropping from here and all of that, and trust me, it's very much necessary for everyone to understand that this is what it is about market analysis. This is what it is about market analysis. So I'll be analyzing the market today. I think we have a great deal of progress. We have a great deal of progress, and trust me, it's something you would not want to miss out on, right? You don't want to miss out on. And I think it's very, very important everybody gets to participate, right? And that's a word, gets to participate in the ongoing. I think everybody needs to join us and make a great deal of progress. And what have you? I think that's pretty much all there is I want to say about that. So trying to see if I could secure or change. That is the word. Change the um what again? Yeah, the yeah. Let me just probably change the widgets. Oh, let me just probably put the other one. Yeah, so I think that would definitely help. Okay. Um. Yeah. So let's let's go. Let's go. We've just saved that, and I think that's so. Guys, what do you think the market is gonna? Where do you think we should be headed for? So for me, this is my analysis. I'm going to the 4 hours time frame. Okay, so this is it. We're gonna set up an inducement right there, which I think the market is setting up itself. See that? And I think I'm going to be preparing for us to pay attention to some key levels. I think is very important of that, right? Then you have this, right? Yeah, that those are the levels I think we need to pay attention to. Yeah, because I'm very honest with you. We might see the market, playing downwards from the zone. So you could either come like this to sell, and my expectation is one of these two. So, what are the odds that we might see the market coming here before selling? Well, if you draw the gun box retracement, it tells me that that's the best point for optimum sell, and which is of course the best place to be thinking of taking a trade, trade call. Maybe it's gonna be like a trade buy or a trade sell, whichever one you want to take. That's always the best when you want to see the market doing an optimum retracement. But another thing I also think I'm also trying to find a delicate balance too is that the market often sometimes does not to do these optimum retracements that you would expect it to do. It sometimes just doesn't. And this is very, very important. If you're streaming with us here on BitGet, I would really appreciate if you can drop some, emojis. I would appreciate you doing that, right? Um, it's very important to, yeah, have that on the top of our heads, right, while we are making this great deal of progress. I think it's very important for us to, you know, itemize this statement of fact and, appreciate or appropriate this truth. Okay. So, yeah. So I think that's just very, very important. Very, very important. And very, very important in what sense you might want to ask, right? I think it's very important when begin to look at the market for what it is, and right, and what it is doing and what it is not doing. And so I think that's very important. So technically speaking, you would agree with me on a forward chart of a favorable gap here, favorable gap here. And if you want to, factor in a, a trend line, as some people would want to do, you'd see that the trend line is saying, hey, there is a likely trend market is building up, resisting the market at this level. And the trend line is also agreeing with the likely for us to take a sell at 113 $800, which I think is not a bad place to think of placing a sell. I'm going to put that same other, likely point for a market drop, and that's on the trend line by us, right? Because we've had two touches respecting this push, and it's very likely we have this, right? And I think that's one reason why I want to consider taking a sell from that point, right? It's a good point to consider taking a sell. But another reason we need to be asking ourselves, and that, want to factor in is the 1 hour chart. Do we have a yeah, a breaker block there, right? Yeah, so we're having a blue shutter block, a supposed blue shutter block that got broken and violated, and this makes it a very solid SND flip zone. So I think yes, it's still giving room for us to think of 114 as a good point to think of placing a sell. And apparently it's breaking out of this falling wedge. So if I remove this inducement, I'm just using pure technicals. This is not even me, but plotting stochastic or some quant analogies into this. What are you going to see? You're going to be seeing a falling wedge, right? And the falling wedge rule probably states that it's going to be breaking out of that. Once it breaks out, some people would say they want to estimate the height of its breakout by this, which still signals that it could spike up to this point, right? And if it spikes up to this point, don't forget, which is a room for us to say, hey, the bigger markets, all right, let me just use a different color so we can, yeah, the bigger market can spike and jump all the way to this point, and once it spikes up, once it spikes, right, it could, let me just use the word spikes. Once it spikes to this height, right, the body could close here. So two things. This is a very huge one. So you have in this point, I'm telling you, there's this favorable gap right here, 115, 149.50, and then you have in this body. So it could, the body of the candle could close right here like this, but the spike could get here. So David, what are you trying to say? What I'm trying to say is this in simple terms, if you have been following me, that the two events can happen as one. And what I'm saying in essence is it's very likely, all right, for us to see the beacon market, spiking into 115,200, which I think is very much likely to happen. And that implies that for me, I'll be setting my sell entry at 114,800. Where would be my stop loss? My stop loss is going to be like right here. Because this is the low that sponsored that, this is the I rather that sponsored that low. And that would be my point of invalidation. I always mark it with red. And I'm going to be taking a sell from that point, and I'm going to be taking this sell all the way to this low point. Of course, this is just about being this is just about being purely logical, and sometimes factor in multiple analytical stands into this whole picture. So you've seen that we've moved from patterns to patterns, candles to candles, zones to zones, liquidity to liquidity, and all we have just done in reality is we have just purely deployed market analysis in the best of its of its stance, right? And that's the truth. So for me, I think that's pretty much all there is when it comes to this statement of fact. I think it's beautiful, right? Whenever we see the market making this great deal of progress, it's very much beautiful to um, mention, right, that we are, yeah, all right. So I think it's just, right, I think it's just very, very much important for us to appropriate this statement of fact, and I think it's necessary. It's very necessary, right? Right. I think it's very necessary for us to enjoy this beautiful statement of fact, and I think it's very great if we can make the most of these discussions and then talk about how far, how well we can, you know, shape the future of our decision, right? Yeah, future of our decision. So I think we have so much um, in hand. We have so much in hand, and I think it's going to be very necessary for us to leverage, leverage. Okay, so okay. All right. So for me, I think it's not a bad idea for us to take this trade. So this is one of the conclusion we have been able to reach in the course of our live stream. And it's not a financial advice, but I think it's a great one all the same, right? It's a great one all the same. A great one all the same. So yeah, I think it's a great one all the same. So um, I think so. I just think so. So guys, we're gonna be taking the trade. I'm gonna be giving this call on BitGet Live, BitGet Insight. If you're joining on X, trust me, you just have to be on BitGet Insight. And if you are on BitGet Insight, you would see every trade call I'm giving. Meanwhile, if you need to, join or trade with us on BitGet Insight, you need to actually have a BitGet account. And trust me, I would love to give this call. I would love to give this call right here on YouTube. To those who are viewing this on YouTube, I wouldn't mind you joining or dropping a comment or whatever it is. But then I'm going to be giving this trade call on BitGet Live. So it's also literally, mentioning this call live also. So we're going to be trading Bitcoin. We're going to be entering a short position at 114900. We need to um um see the old call being mentioned, but I think that's what's going to be happening. And then the stop loss is going to be like 116. I mean, you must be willing to wait. Then the take profit is going to take a long time. Probably it's going to be like till the 26th of this month, which is in about 2 days time. So the take profit is 108. So yeah, that's the trade we're going to be taking on Bitcoin, right? Yeah. So I don't know if you all are ready for this trade, but that's a call we're going to be giving. This is a trade call given on this live stream, and I think it's very important. So I'm going to be calling this particular one body close. So that's where I think the body of the candle is going to be closing based on my understanding of the markets. I'm going to call that body close and it's going to be towards the left. Boom. And I'm going to call this, you know, weak tap. So that's where the week is going to be tapping into um, over time. So, and I think, because not a financial advice, this is not just, I mean, it's not a financial advice. Let me just put it that way. I'm going to be saying this in simple terms. So this is analysis we've given, and I think it's on everybody to make this trade. So what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be taking this trade. So yeah, we are given a trade, and for those who are joining, it's very important to trade. We have to all take. Um, okay, okay, all right. So you can join us live on YouTube. And please, if you're joining for the first time, you can also try to let me know where you're viewing from. Just drop your name. I would love. I mean, when I'm saying love, I'm not joking. I mean, I would love to have you. Yeah, I'd love to have you join us communities and then drop your name so I can keep, you know, looking out for you anytime you come to join. So just let me know where you're watching from. I think that's all that matters. Other things are very much secondary. Yeah. So yeah. So this is it on that. So any opportunity you get for a long, I think the long is likely gonna be happening. So not a financial advice either. So I think this is what I think market is gonna be doing. We're gonna be having a push like this, then it's gonna come like that. The the top is gonna happen like this, then you have that. So which still brings out the beauty of what I think market is gonna be doing. So I think that's it on Bitcoin. So I think our Bitcoin analysis is very much clear. So the TradeMania bias is for us to take a long position. And if you're gonna be asking me where do I want to put my long, well, I think for me on Bitcoin, let me come to the 30 minutes time frame. For me on Bitcoin, I think yeah. So this is it on Bitcoin. I think we're gonna be like I don't know. I wouldn't want to pick it by around this point. I would love to look around for a fair value gap and some things like that where liquidities could be drawn into. It hasn't successfully taken liquidity outside this. It's still within the wedge I drew the other time. Those who joined earlier on will be aware of this, wedge like thing I drew. Right, the market is within the wedge. And where would I likely want to take it by? Well, the wedge has its own rule, and I'm not into all of that. But I think, looking at how the market has been, the projections, I would likely want to think of taking the long below this point, where people would likely want to place a stop loss at. So anything around here, is a good point to take a buy here or here. So yeah, any of those twos. So I'm gonna likely take a buy around that point upwards. And I think that it's for me. That's it for me. So I don't know if anyone is on here having a question, you're viewing and you want to probably let's go make a post on um let me see, it get square. Okay, I believe you all guys have seen this. Let me make the post accessible. This, so let's go to Biget. Okay, we have just a few followers there, and then oh my god, really? X is now back, really? Let me see. X was literally down some few moments ago. But if you've been following, you'll see that this trade we gave played out. We gave this trade call right here, and of course, it happened. So that tells you guys that you should not ignore our call. We're doing my GM right here on X, and yeah, we're gonna begin our posts, right? A random beautiful post. It's so it gets okay, no, I'm gonna call that Bitcoin raid. So